Welcome to the Space Out Podcast, where we chill out, chat about, and space out. I'm your host, Luca, a.k.a. LucaTony, and today I'm going to talk about my first week experience with university in COVID times, and how, although it's been extremely weird, actually, it hasn't been all that bad. I've had all of my classes so far, but Calculus 1 at this point, because Calculus 1 is asynchronous and the teacher hasn't sent me all of the material yet. But other than that, it all has been going relatively smoothly and on track. I'm going to give you like a rundown of all of my classes and what I have so far and what I can tell they will be like. And then I'll tell you what I think of them. And finally, I'm going to give some like overall feelings of how I feel about online classes, my classes in particular, and the whole situation with COVID in Texas Tech and Texas as a whole generally. So first of all, let me tell you. So I'm a computer science student, and I am currently doing my very first freshman year. I started this week on Monday. Monday the 23rd, if I'm correct. Let me open up my calendar. The 24th. Monday 24th. And so far, it's actually been quite pleasant. So the classes I've had have been Introduction to Technical Writing. I've had a class on, now that I am here, the classes are escaping my head, and I was just doing classes not too long ago. Sociology. What else? I had engineering. So it's like it's called engineering, but it's basically just Python and a bunch of other basics of programming. History of the United States before 1877. I've had, what else? That's it, I think. Sociology, history, introduction to technical writing, computational thinking with data science, basic engineering, and Calculus 1, but I have not received my stuff for Calculus 1 yet. Okay, yeah. So let's start with, let's go with sociology, because that one was a curveball. I totally did not expect to enjoy sociology as much as I am currently enjoying it. I feel like that's mostly because of my teacher. I checked my teacher and like rate my professor thingy, and they have like almost a practically perfect score on most of the things the teacher has taught. And that really, it adds up, because my teacher for sociology is an absolute like joy to watch. Sociology is my other class that's asynchronous. All of my other classes, but calculus and sociology, I have like bi-weekly, how do you say it? 2 times a week meetings with my teachers, and we discuss class content there. But the sociology is one of the asynchronous ones, and the videos that my professor has recorded, they just have so much energy, and she is so excited about talking about sociology with other people and explaining it, and it just really conveys like her passion for it, and it has made it such fun class. And I didn't expect to enjoy just like the very few little things I've seen about the introduction to sociology and what we're going to be talking about in the semester. I didn't expect it to be exactly what we're gonna look into, but I'm like already super excited at the idea. And like the very first class, which was like an hour long lecture, was already like so cool in my opinion. So sociology was a big hit. Then history was let me disclose, I've never liked history class. Even though I do understand and I do agree with the fact that history is an important subject that we should teach, because we need to learn from our pasts, especially now with everything that's been going on with BLM. It is very apparent that we should know the past of our communities and of our countries. But I've never been a fan of studying and doing history-related things. My teacher is a good teacher, admittedly. And he also seems very passionate about the things he teaches. So that, that energy, that passion kind of goes across to me. And although it is probably my least anticipated class, or like my most boring class, because of just like I've always disliked history. I can't say that enough. So far we've talked about like South American cultures before Columbus and the colonization of the New World happened, and I've found that actually pretty enjoyable. So I just want, and I've been reading some of the textbooks that my teacher sent me, and they're all right. I'm not actively enjoying them, but I'm also like not disliking them, which is a big change for me for history. So it's actually been quite positive. Then Introduction to Technical Writing. This one was another curveball to sociology, but not because I just had no expectations for it, but it's because I had negative expectations for it, and now I'm probably like the happiest I've ever been with an English class. So basically, Introduction to Technical Writing is under the Department of English, and what we do in the first few weeks of Introduction to Technical Writing is look at stuff like how to write plans and portfolios. Right now I'm making my LinkedIn profile, all those sorts of things, right? But like when we looked at the syllabus in the first meeting we had, I saw that after week 5 we're gonna be going into it. Practically turns into a design class. We're gonna be using Figma, which is like a web design like board visualizer. I don't know how to explain it. It basically allows a designer to sort of drag and drop and select and edit design ideas that they have. And we're going to use Figma for like 7 weeks or 8 weeks in a row. And I don't even know what to say. I've always been good at English class. I've loved writing creatively. I wrote a 100-page novel for goodness sake. But the fact that I've never enjoyed writing essays in terms of, read Macbeth and analyze Macbeth, read, I don't know, something else. But the fact that we're doing this as a more like, prepare you for professional world, and then it's turning into a web design class, it's just the greatest thing that could have happened to me for an English class. And I'm actually super, super excited to get into it because, goddamn, that sounds like a lot of fun. Then my last class that I've actually had, because we're discarding calculus because I haven't gotten my stuff yet, was engineering, which was the technical name is computational thinking with data sciences. And so far, I've learned how to write hello world. If you're a programmer, you know what I mean. I've learned how to write a hello world in 3 different languages for 3 different classes. So you probably understand what I mean when I say that I am tired of having to learning how to write hello world for the 4th time on Python for class. So even though it is probably the class with the most potential for me to like, especially since I've looked at the syllabus and we're gonna have 5 weeks of machine learning, which is fucking cool. The fact that I have to start all over from scratch is kind of a pain, because I've done hello world in HTML, I've done hello world in C++, and I've done hello world in Python before, and now we're redoing hello world in Python. So it's just it's not the most fun class right now, but it is definitely a class that has insane potential. After my first midterms, I'll probably make another Space Out podcast and tell you all how that class went, because so far it's been pretty nice. So let me tell you now about some hold on, what did I say I was going to do? I was going to be a rundown of my classes, tell you what I think of them, which I've done. So now I'm going to give you how I feel overall. Oh, and how I feel about Texas and Texas Tech. So let's talk about Texas and Texas Tech first. So if you go to the Texas Tech Reddit right now, like 90% of the Reddit is filled with people being concerned for COVID because Texas Tech didn't close their doors and in fact are encouraging and forcing students that can travel and have visas and or live in the United States, etc., to come on campus and do at the very least 50-50 online classes and physical classes, normal classes, right? And there's a lot of people that are freaking out because like we started class on August 24th. By August like 4th, they had like 14 cases of COVID confirmed inside of the campus. So like teachers, some students had already gone into, you know, their rooms, etc., etc. And by when school started, they had 1,400 cases in a university where a good chunk of students can't go there because they're stuck in distance learning. So it's very concerning to see them continue with physical classes, but and there's a lot of people that are freaking out right now, and it's kind of, yeah, I don't know what to say, man. I don't know what to say. It's at the end of the day Texas Tech's decision, and they took that decision. But there's a lot of people that are afraid that after the whole process of the whole painful process that was going from normal classes to online classes last semester, which I can't attest for, but I can say that I've read a lot of posts online about it. After that whole fiasco in like April, March, they're afraid that they're gonna cancel classes again after having, you know, prepared for normal classes and moving into online classes. And I don't know, I just don't want my classes to be negatively affected, that's all. Which, due to the fact I'm doing all distance learning, it shouldn't happen. But you never know. You never know if they give more students for certain classes, etc., etc. So with that out of the way, let me give you some overall thoughts on how I feel about COVID classes. I'm gonna call it COVID University so far. So I feel like COVID classes mesh really well for me. So okay, so this is what I heard a lot about, and I can confirm. I've done IB before, which is like 6 classes. Most of them, which I didn't really care all that much about, and I had basically almost no free time at all because of studying and preparing and all of those things. And now with 5 classes in university that I care about practically all of them, with the exception of maybe history class in the long run and computer science right now. I care about all of them. I have had so much more free time, so much more time I can dedicate to studying and to myself that I feel like there has to be something wrong with the high school educational system, because I had never felt so much pressure in my life as when I was doing my IB exams and I had to also apply for university in the same time frame. And now that I'm in university and I have admittedly a way higher workload and way higher, you know, stress regarding me needing to study for classes and all of those. Like I have spent more time doing school things that I did in IB in terms of per class. But due to the fact that there's one less class and due to the fact that like it's classes you like, I've just felt so free. And I've done really well on my beginning quizzes, which I know are not indicative of what I'm going to do, of how well I'm going to do later. But the fact that, like, I don't know, I have to read, for next week I have to read 25 pages for my English class for technical writing, right? But usually that felt like a burden for stuff like economics class. But 25 pages for technical writing is not a burden for me anymore. And it feels like something I want to do. And it's And even for history class, even though like I'm the least passionate about that class, I still feel like, I don't know, like I'm studying and it's working, or like it's, I don't even know how to describe it. I'm just on a roll. Maybe it's because English class was a curveball and I ended up enjoying it. Sociology was a curveball and I ended up enjoying it. But I don't know how to describe it, but I'm just on a roll right now. And I've just enjoyed it so much. And the fact that, like, for example, in IB times, I had so much homework, and then I wanted to study for a good amount of time. I didn't have time to like play with my friends online, or talk with people through voice chat or Skype calls or whatever. Practically like every week, with the exception of like weekends sometimes. Uh, and now I have, during university time, I have basically, I finish my classes. I start my classes at 7 a.m., which it is admittedly very tiring, but I will go to sleep earlier, so it's fine. And then the latest I finish a class is at 11. And then I literally have from 11 to like 10 p.m. to study and do whatever I want, do homework, do quizzes, online quizzes, etc., etc. And the fact that I have that much time to do quizzes, then read 25 pages of a chapter, study it all, remember everything, and I still have like an hour or an hour and a half ish every day to chill down, sit down, maybe like, space out, maybe like read a book or play games with my friends. It has felt so nice after working so hard for IB. And like, obviously I don't discredit IB, because if it weren't for the IB, I wouldn't have been able to, one, skip chemistry class, two, skip two English classes that were like traditional English classes that I did not enjoy, three, skip secondary language requirement. Like, if I hadn't done IB, and I also would not have gotten my presidential scholarship. If I hadn't done IB, it would have been a lot worse. But goddamn, I feel so much more free, and with so much more time to do things that I enjoy, because the things that I have to do are things that I enjoy as well. And like, again, it's not indicative of how it's gonna be when I get to my first midterm and my final exam, but I feel like with how passionate I am with my classes and how much I'm enjoying the content that I'm like doing, I feel like I'm gonna crush it. Which, like, with classes like, I don't know, math, or with classes like physics, that I've always enjoyed, I've always felt like that. But when IB makes you take, I don't know, English, Spanish, economics, and chemistry, which I never truly 100% enjoyed, it always felt like such a burden to sit down and study. And I never felt like, oh yeah, I'm gonna crush this test. I always felt, yeah, I think I'm gonna do well, but I never felt like, wow, I feel like because of how much I'm enjoying this, how much I'm like actively putting time to study and enjoying the studying and remembering it, I feel like I'm gonna crush it. I just I don't know what to say. I feel like university, there's a lot of like misconceptions and like fears of university. Again, this is week one student talking. Maybe it's just the honeymoon period, but I don't know what to say. I've just enjoyed it so much. And like, admittedly, I've had a good amount of workload already. I've had to read like 2 entire chapters of a textbook that amounted to like 50 pages of content. I've written like 15 pages of like notes, or like 20 pages of notes for my classes already. I've had like 5 quizzes already. Admittedly, it is a much more intense workload right off the bat compared to IB, but I feel so much better with what I'm doing, and I feel so much more free and, I don't know, I guess excited and impassioned about what I'm doing, which hadn't happened in so long. I hadn't felt that feeling of like, oh yes, I'm doing this because I like to do this. I want to do this, since I did web design in like fucking 10th grade. It's been so long, and it feels incredible. And to be honest, even though I have no clue how calculus is gonna go, because I have not received it, I feel super positive that I'm gonna have a fun time this semester. I have a feeling that, like, I don't want to jinx it, but so far everything's looking good. The only thing that worries me, like I just alluded to, is my calculus class, because it isn't asynchronous and they still haven't sent me any of the course content with a good week into it. I am kind of worried. I have emailed the teacher, and the teacher said that they were gonna send the stuff, but they haven't yet. So I am kind of worried about that. But future Luca will cross that bridge when it gets there. If by next week I don't get the content, then it's gonna be real problems. But like, I feel like everything will be okay. I always say, and I always try to uplift people by like saying, everything will be okay. You'll do great. You'll crush it. And I try to say it to myself, and sometimes I don't believe it. I just like say it till what is it? Fake it till you make it kind of thing. But for the first time in a long time, I truly do believe that I will do great, and that thanks to my very impassioned teachers, and for the classes that I don't like, and for the sheer cool content that I'm gonna look into in my classes, I feel like everything's gonna be okay, and I'm gonna enjoy my time in university. So, and COVID doesn't affect me as much because even though I speak quite a lot, evidently from the 22 minutes we've been going for this podcast already, and the fact that I'm a very sociable person, I actually don't mind. Like, I literally go into my room at like 7 a.m. to hook up on my PC for the classes, and I don't leave until like 6 p.m. maybe, other than to like have, I don't know, lunch, breakfast, dinner type of thing. Like, I literally don't leave my room, which is admittedly not healthy, but I do exercise, so I'm doing okay with that. So COVID hasn't hit me that hard. So I feel like with all of those things combined, stuff is looking up. And the fact that I still have time to manage to stream, I still have time to record a quick Space Out podcast episode, and the YouTube, which you should check out. I'm posting one video a week, by the way. The YouTube is gonna, it's gonna have content in the future. I feel very happy and optimistic about the future, and I don't know how to describe it, but I'm on the fucking moon right now. And yeah. Thank you so much for listening through today's episode. Hopefully my classes stay as smooth and fun as they are right now. We can only hope, but with how I've just gone on a positive, happy tangent, I feel like it will be. Hopefully COVID is over by December so I can travel to Texas. Although I don't know how my opinion about it will change over time because of everything that's been going on. So we will see how that goes. I am enjoying distance learning quite a bit this first week, so we'll see. But with all of that said, thank you for spacing out.